Welcome back to the Fumble Live and happy Friday. It is the weekend, but we still have some news to tell you from the week, including an update on Ben Simmons. And honestly, I don't know what he's thinking. So we're going to get into that in just a second. We're also talking about Kawhi Leonard because I don't know what he's thinking either. There's a lot of confusion and question marks in the NBA right now. But before we dive into it, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
So Jackie, I always have to ask, do you have any plans for the weekend? Anything special coming up?
I do. I have an on-air audition with iHeartRadio tomorrow. So they need a permanent fill-in person. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I have a life. Y'all can't just be calling me last minute and be like, hey, I mean, what does that mean? I need to know what that means. But I'm going to go and see what they say.
I have been that fill-in person before, and yeah, it can be a little bit difficult, but it's sometimes fun to jump in and do something different for a day or a couple days. So I am excited for you. iHeartRadio is huge, so that's really great. I hope you get it. I hope you get it.
Be the Kevin Pryor of iHeartRadio, because you guys know he always fills in for us here. I can be that for iHeart. That'd be cool.
Yes, that's true. We do love that Kevin has been able to jump in like the nights that I'm vomiting endlessly for no reason. Love that visual for you guys. But Kevin comes in and saves the day, so we appreciate that. Okay, let's jump into this news because I feel like this Ben Simmons update, Jackie, is going to make you laugh because it's so funny that he thinks he has this kind of pull. So Ben Simmons has been one of the biggest question marks in the NBA that we've seen this offseason. We've seen teams making trades, they're securing contracts, they're doing deals, and Ben Simmons and the Sixers are just at this complete standstill. Now, one of the more recent updates that we've had about Ben Simmons is that he was ghosting the Sixers, not answering their calls, and basically refusing to talk to them. They don't know if he's working out. They don't know what his plans are, anything. So there's just been no communication. But now it turns out the Sixers are also kind of giving Ben the silent treatment. And any conversations that they've been needing to have or that they have been having have gone through Rich Paul, Ben's agent, which I think is super funny because that means Ben is just playing no part in these conversations. He's basically feeding information to Rich, and then Rich is dealing with all of it. Apparently he's doing this to put pressure on the Sixers to get him over to the Warriors. That is his top team right now. Now, the last time the Sixers tried to make this happen, the Warriors just immediately declined because the Sixers were literally outrageous in what they were asking for in return for sending Ben over there. So that deal was already shut down right away. They didn't even take a second to think about it. But Ben is still dead set on ending up in NorCal, or at least in California in general, and he wants to force the Sixers to make that happen. But of course, he has zero leverage on where he ends up going, and that's what these reports are saying, that he doesn't have this kind of pull. And I don't know who is even surprised by this information, because I don't think anybody thought Ben would have any sort of pull in where he ended up, especially when he's been declining and he completely disappeared in the playoffs. Rich Paul is trying to do what he can. He's putting in the work. He's trying to force that trade to Golden State to happen. But another little update here, which I find also pretty amusing, is that Ben has said he does not want to go to Toronto and he doesn't want to go to Portland. As if he has this kind of leverage to make these kinds of demands. That's a pretty big ask for somebody who seriously was so underwhelming in the most recent games that we saw him play. I'm shocked that he thinks he can ask for this. Going to a team that doesn't have a high likelihood of even making it to the playoffs is, or maybe not even very deep, very far into the playoffs, is not an ideal situation for any young athlete. I understand that. But also I think Ben needs to realize that it was his own weaknesses that got him in this position. And I think this could be a great chance for him to look at the bright side. If he goes to a team, of course with the Trailblazers, you've got Dame there, so he's not going to just pop in and be like a nobody on a nothing team. But if he goes to a team that doesn't have like an insanely stacked roster, he could have a really great opportunity to actually shine and work without so much pressure on him and maybe get back to the player that he once was. But there are people on Twitter who totally understand Ben's behavior. Leo, can we throw that tweet up there? So this was the initial tweet actually about the initial report about Ben cutting off communication with basically everyone in the Sixers organization and just talking through his agent. So let's throw up that second tweet. This person wrote, "They hung him out to dry and publicly took jabs. Expecting him to come back after that is crazy." So I don't know.
Wait, what were the jabs that they publicly took at him? I need clarification. What were the jabs? Because the last thing I remember is Doc saying, yes, we publicly took jabs at them and him, and no, the 76ers didn't defend him. But the last thing I really remember is Doc saying he's not giving up on Ben Simmons. And when you've got your head coach saying he's not giving up on you, everything that negates everything else. We have all said you guys should give up. Doc is like, no, I don't want to give up. I'm going to work with him. And you're ghosting the very person who hasn't given up on you. So what are the jabs that this person is talking about? I need clarification.
The only thing I can think of are people like us in the media constantly taking jabs at Ben Simmons, but two, after Ben missed that wide open basket, or I always say missed, but he didn't miss it. He just didn't take it. It wasn't a miss at all. Joel Embiid did say, I forget his exact words, but he did kind of drag his teammate in that post-game press conference, which makes sense. I understand, but maybe those are the jabs that person is referring to. But speaking of Joel Embiid,
I just want to say one thing on that. Ben, that was his moment to step up and own it. That was his moment to step up and say, hey, you know what Joel said? He's actually right. I don't know how I got inside my head. I mean, there's nobody who blew it worse than J.R. Smith when he forgot how much time was left on the clock. And when he got dragged, he owned it. You have to own your mistakes. That's not a jab. That is an observation that you blew it. And if people are considering that a jab, that's what the term soft comes from. Just so we're clear.
I don't think anybody would argue with you on that. I think Ben Simmons has proven that he is pretty soft, especially just looking at the way he's handling this situation, because you can do it with a level of professionalism and a level of grace and whatever, and kind of realize that you created this future for yourself, but instead he's just kind of acting like a child and like stomping his feet on the ground and refusing to talk, which is super, super strange. But yeah, Joel Embiid has also apparently tried to reach out to Ben quite a few times and hasn't gotten any response, so that relationship is rocky. If for whatever reason Ben still ends up staying with the Sixers because they can't get rid of him or they decide to give him another chance or whatever it is going to be a rough season over there for him, because he made his bed and then he'll have to lie in it. So very, very weird situation going on. Jackie, do you think it's fair for Ben to be feeling kind of so hurt and angry about this situation and not talking to his team?
I mean, if he's going to feel hurt and angry, that needs to go inward. You need to look at yourself and go back and look at your own tape and look at the tape that's keeping you from getting a job anywhere else. And you need to self-reflect, and you need to be upset with yourself, because the narrative that we talked about with Ben last season is not a new narrative. We've been talking about this narrative with Ben for quite some time. He's been on the decline since 2018. This isn't a new narrative. This is him not stepping up, listening to that criticism. If you can't take constructive criticism, no matter what field you're in, there's always going to be a problem. This is a Ben problem. This is not an everybody else problem. And somebody in the chat said, oh, they felt like, maybe that jab was when Doc Rivers said he couldn't play on a championship team as a point guard. Ben Simmons is not a point guard. He's proven that he's not that. When we changed to that position is when he really started having all these problems. That's not a jab. That's Doc kind of reading the room and saying, okay, maybe we need to switch your position because you actually played better when you were at a different position. That's not a jab. That's doing your job and reading the room. So I don't agree with this aspect at all, that he, if he's going to be mad and emotional, okay, but be mad and emotional at yourself. That's number one. That's the only way you're going to get better, no matter where you end up. Number two, if Joel is reaching out to you, you take the call. You just take the call, because you have to prove that you are trying to get better mentally and on the court. You have to take the call. You can't go. I am so sorry. I know that James Harden got everybody out here thinking if they pout and throw a tantrum and gain a whole bunch of weight that they can lose in 2 weeks miraculously, that they will get their way. But that is not the case. You're not James Harden. The Houston bet the farm on James Harden because he was worth it. Nobody's betting the farm on Ben Simmons. Stop. James Harden got everybody messed up right now.
Let's just get one thing straight, though, Jackie. He gained a bunch of weight and lost it, I think, in 24 hours. It wasn't 2 weeks. Those were like back-to-back photos. Nobody knows how that happened. I think a fat suit must have been involved because that was unbelievable. Or he just ate a bunch of salt and was really, really bloated and then super hydrated after. That was weird. So what do you expect for the future with Ben Simmons? Do you think that his relationship with the Sixers is officially over after this behavior, or is there still a chance that they could continue to keep him on for next season?
I think they're going to end up having to keep him on for next season. I know Jeremiah is a Warriors fan, so I'd love to hear what he thinks about Ben Simmons coming to the Warriors. I think that's the absolute worst place for him to go, for him specifically, just because that is a team where everybody can shoot, from the bench to the starters to probably the ball boys. Everybody can shoot on that squad. And then you're going out there and we're not saying that you can't shoot because we've actually seen you do it. We're just saying for some reason you don't. I think that's the worst place that he could go. It's going to make his confidence become even less because he's going to be surrounded by people who expect him to fit into that system. And where he is right now, that in order to force a trade, you have to have people that want you. James Harden could force that situation because the Nets wanted him. You know what I mean? But nobody wants Ben Simmons. Somebody's going to take Ben Simmons out of default. Like, all right, well, if you don't make us give you this, and if we give you these Skittles, then we'll take Ben Simmons. But they're going to have to come down in their price of what they want for Ben Simmons. And then I don't know if Ben Simmons is going to have success, especially if he goes to the Warriors. I just don't see that working at all. If he goes to a smaller market, I could see that working because now he is the star. Now he can get out of his feelings a little bit and expect to be, whatever he thinks he is in his head. But I don't think you go to the Warriors. I think that would be career suicide for him.
Yeah, this tactic might work, or we did see it work with James Harden because James is a high-value player, but Ben doesn't have that same sort of value on the team. And exactly like what you said, Jackie, is what I was thinking. If he goes to a smaller market or a team that has less eyes on it, I just think it could actually end up being a really good opportunity for him to sort of regain his footing in the NBA and prove that he still deserves to be there. Because right now, lots of the conversations that we're hearing about Ben is like, can he even handle this anymore? Or is it time for him to hang it up and, just take some brand deals and do social media stuff instead? So I think that going to a team where he doesn't have as much pressure is probably actually going to work out for him. You mentioned the Clippers before, and we're actually going to talk about them right now. So let's get into it. I want to talk about Kawhi Leonard because he still has not made a decision about his future with LA, and this feels very familiar. This has kept the Clippers fan base, I'm sure the Clippers front office, everybody on edge, and it's something that really doesn't sit well with former Los Angeles Lakers champ Robert Horry. So he actually sounded off on Kawhi's indecision and the way that he's just kind of taking his time in free agency. He put him on blast and he said, quote, "As a Clipper fan, I would be mad at Kawhi with him sitting back, waiting and trying to see what other guys are getting and see what he wants to do is not fair to the organization." And with how he has decided to wait out free agency, Kawhi now does kind of have a little bit more leverage than he would have to maybe negotiate a better deal with the Clippers or maybe even with another team. This, like I said before, this feels very familiar. Kawhi did this. He kind of took his time before committing to the Clippers. He kept a bunch of teams waiting on his decision. So it's sort of it's a move that he tends to pull. Now, there's a person on Twitter that actually made a pretty good point about this. Leo, can we throw up I think it's the second asset in there? They wrote, quote, "He's treating them like he owns them," and he does, but we got Clippers fans and beat writers talking about how LeBron runs franchises. All LeBron has done with the Lakers is win a chip, sign an extension, then recruit good players to come play for the Lakers. Kawhi has done nothing. And I think that that's a really good point, because Kawhi's just sitting there taking his time, and he's a great player, but it's not like he's made these huge impacts to the team. So, Jackie, do you feel like Kawhi gets away with this diva behavior because he's just kind of quiet and he seems very low-key, so when he pulls something like this, people are less likely to be critical about it?
I mean, he's only pulled something like this when he can, and I'm not making any excuses for him. But when the ball has been in his court and the decision has been 100% up to him, that's when he's kind of pulled this specific kind of BS that he's pulling. I'm not talking about when he gets mad about what the doctor says and blames it on the injury and things of that nature. But he's a free agent right now. But I do, the problem with this, the reason why I don't like it is because I know what happened to the Lakers when you're kind of on this situation where is Kawhi, won't Kawhi, what's happening? And because of that, you miss out on other opportunities. That's the only thing that I don't like about this. Kawhi doesn't really owe anybody anything when he's a free agent. But at the same time, I just hate, and I don't like Clippers, but I just hate to see them like overlook opportunities because they're waiting for somebody who may change his mind. But if they act on it and he wasn't going to change his mind, then now you're in a situation. So I said he was going to leave. I told you guys that before. In my heart of hearts, I do believe if the right situation presents itself, he will leave. And I said this before when he really released himself basically and became this free agent. I said, if he really wanted to stay with the Clippers, the next thing that we would have heard was the contract is in the works. But that's not what we heard. We heard they hope that the contract can get in the works. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those things where they were like, okay, please, Kawhi, don't leave us. We really want you here. And Kawhi's like, we'll see. And I just don't like that level of torment because I just think it's, just say yes or no. You know what you're going to do. Say yes or no and let them know. If you're weighing options, say that. You're well within your right to do so. You're a free agent. Do what's best for you. But say that. Don't tell the Clippers that you're hopeful to re-sign with them while you're entertaining other offers. I just don't like that. Some people in the chat think that he's coming back to the Clippers. I don't know. I'm just going to say that I don't know.
Just to kind of build off of what you're saying, I want to dive a little deeper into Robert Horry's quote because he touched on this quite a bit and how he feels like it's sort of unfair to keep everybody at this standstill. So I'm going to actually read the whole thing. He says, as a Clipper fan, I would be mad at Kawhi because there are a lot of free agents sitting there and watching what Kawhi will do because we might join your franchise. With him sitting back, waiting, and trying to see what other guys are getting, seeing what he wants to do is not fair to the organization because the organization went out of his way to give you everything you wanted in these past couple of seasons, but now you're putting them in a bad situation. You talk about winning championships and being better, but you're going to need some pieces because you lost some pieces. If you don't sign early so people can say, okay, Kawhi's staying put and I can come in and join them. And that's a great point. I mean, he's just putting everybody at a disadvantage here except for himself. And I do think that the Clippers are sort of relying on him. And we've heard that they've made absolutely no adjustments or plans as to what they'll do if he leaves because their expectation is that Kawhi will be staying. But with this prolonged waiting period, I don't know if they can feel so sure. Do you feel like the Clippers are relying on him as well as other free agents across the league who might be interested in joining the Clippers if Kawhi leaves?
Yeah, I mean, I think this all rests on Kawhi. The statement that Kawhi is acting like he owns them, he is in a certain extent. Everything rests on what Kawhi does because the Clippers can't really make any moves until they know what he's going to do. There's part of me that wants them. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Boiler Room, but there's that quote from Ben Affleck that I live my life by, and it's act as if. Sometimes you just got to act as if. If you don't know what Kawhi is going to do, you have to act as if he's leaving. I understand that that's going to put you in a situation, but I would rather you make moves in preparation of him not signing than you waiting and being behind the 8 ball and now got to scramble to figure things out because the piece that you wanted is not going to be there. You have some solid pieces without Kawhi. Build on those. And if first of all, make one move. Instead of letting him force your hand, force his hand. Make one move that shows, hey, Kawhi, we really want you here. However, you taking a long time. So we're going to prepare like you're not coming. And then that might make him say, oh, wait. are they really just going to move on without me? You gotta do something to try to force his hand, because right now he's holding all the cards, and it's going to end up putting you behind the 8 ball if he bounces. Because by the time he bounces, everybody that you would have wanted to come to LA is going to be taken. So I say you make one move right now that shows that you're prepared to move on without him, and then see what he does. Don't make a bunch of moves. Just make one move to show that you're prepared to move on without him and see what happens.
That's not a bad idea. And if the Clippers are starting to sort of feel the pressure of time, then maybe they'll do that. But for now, Kawhi is just kind of taking his sweet time. Look, I understand wanting to be thoughtful about what happens in your future, but he's taking it too far now. And it is pretty unfair to everybody involved. All right, well, let's wrap up Need to Know News, you guys, and let's get into the post-up.
Yes, let's get into the post-up. And I'm excited because after the post-up and what we not going to do, we have Fan or Foe Friday, I think, right? So I'm excited about that. But let's get into this first one. Woo, woo, woo. So this one, you guys know I love me some baby goat, aka LUKA. And so this moment in time I actually really liked, because I like sportsmanship. You know how hard LUKA must have taken that moment in time. He wanted to bring it back for his country. Versus us, I think we would have just been like, okay, cool, we get to go home early. I think it hits him a little harder. So Nick got that block. That was the reason why LUKA got to go wherever he's going to go right now. But he posted this picture, which I love this picture because you can just see the hurt all over LUKA's face. And he says, you know what? Nothing but respect, brother. This sport is yours. Okay, I have a little bit of a problem with him saying this sport is yours, considering LUKA hasn't won anything yet. And, I'm the baby GOAT fan, but I have a little bit of problem with that. But I still like the public encouragement to this guy, because I think it just speaks to who Nick is and his understanding that LUKA is that up and coming guy. But here come the jokes, though. This first one says, this man's so tired of losing to effing Nick BATUM. It's killing him. And you could kind of see it in his face. He's all hurt. Bless his heart. I'm so sorry, LUKA. That one definitely hurt. Then, of course, here comes this one LUKA fan. He was the lone LUKA fan that I found, and I'm not saying that everybody else wasn't fans. They just realized that this has been an ongoing thing. This one says, actually, he lost to the whole Clippers team. Put some respect on LUKA's name. He averaged 40 points within a weak team. No help, just chill. I'm like, okay, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. But here, we can get back to the jokes now, because this one says, I'm crying. LUKA hates everyone on the Clippers with a passion. That might be what that face is. I don't even know. That might be what that face is. He's like, oh, now you got to just play like you nice to me. I don't like it. I think I have one more. It says, can't even look bro in the eyes. He took that L personal. Was he not looking him in the eyes? Let me see. I guess not. I guess he was probably looking like, oh, yeah, okay. I guess he was, oh, damn it, LUKA. Like, man, bro, I don't even want to talk to you. Go away. That's so sad. Kevin, something to say.
I just feel bad for LUKA. That picture of him is so pathetic. Like, just sitting there like.
Right, like, so sad. Okay, I love you. That's, you'll be okay, I promise. All right, let's get on to this next one, because if I didn't know better, sometimes, actually most of the time, based on his size and the things that he says, I would say Charles Barkley played 20 years in the NFL, and he has a horrible case of CTE, because I hate his takes. His takes be so off base sometimes. I think this one is absolutely right, and I think he's going to feel silly when if he would read, he would feel silly right now. But you guys take a look, listen to what he says about King James and his legacy. Take a listen.
But Giannis and Dirk Nowitzki, guys like that, especially Giannis is the perfect example. They go through the grind and to lose, which Michael did. Mm-hmm. When I was watching that documentary, I was like, damn, I forgot how bad the Pistons beat him up. But going through that struggle, that's what separates sports. Like winning all the time, like we all want to win, but the struggle is part of your legacy. And what Giannis did this year, what Michael doing when the Pistons beat the hell out of him for 3 or 4 straight years, and he's like, no, I'm going to keep getting better. I'm going to keep getting better. That's the difference in my opinion.
Okay, Charles. First of all, you act like LeBron. I cannot stand Charles Barkley. His takes be so off base. First of all, I think everyone in the league right now is a little bit more talented. I know y'all are going to get mad at me for saying that. But like I've said time and time again, there's come up super teams anymore because the talent in this league just goes up every single year. And the game is played differently. It's just a different game. I saw Jordan said that if it was him and his old school players against KD and LeBron James and Giannis, that they would end up winning by 3 points. The old school heads would win by 3 points. Michael Jordan drinks a lot of cognac. I'm going to leave that at that. I think Charles Barkley drinks a lot of cognac too. He say he don't drink like that, but I don't believe him. Of course, people had things to say about it, but the bad takes breed bad takes, because this next one is a bad take as well. This guy says, what most modern players don't understand is that there is greatness in the attempt. Said nobody ever. Nobody ever said, oh, you tried. That's no. This one says Allen Iverson's attempt in Philly is far more respectable and noble than KD's success in Golden State. Yes, sure, chase an easy ring in your twilight, but while still in your prime, try. What? That doesn't even make sense. So I had to go to this next user who kind of tried to reel him back in, because he said, so KD making the finals with OKC is as good as an attempt from Iverson against LA? Bad take. LeBron finals appearance against the Spurs in Cleveland. None of the modern players are not trying in the younger years. Whether you like it or not, there is more talent now across the NBA. I 100% agree with that. It's not the same league. You have to make moves now back in the day, there was only a few names that stood out because there was only a few players that stood out. Now you've got a whole bunch of names. You got to remember who's going where. The talent level is just far, far greater right now. I am not checking for Charles Barkley in this take. This take was ridiculous. So we're just going to move on to this next one, because NBA Twitter kind of bothers me on this one as well, because I thought that this was a great moment in time for Max Sturz, I guess is his last name. He plays for the G League for the Miami Heat. He's on a 2-way contract. But this moment in time, verbally, you guys know I talk about that. Sometimes you got to be just as much of a verbal leader as you are a physical leader on the court. Verbally, this man has it. Right now, he's only averaging 6 points a game, but that's not the point. Let me just show you this moment in time where he clearly gets it.
Hey, what y'all see over there that I see? What y'all see over there that I see? Food. I see every one of them was drafted. Right. Ain't none of us were. Be dogs. Be hungry. Show these people why we should have been drafted. Come on, y'all. Let's go.
I love that. Let's show them why we should have been drafted. I don't know if you guys heard it. I don't know if it was loud enough, but he said, what do you guys see over there? Somebody in that huddle said food. So no, he took that moment to reel it in and say, everybody that's sitting over there was drafted. Let's show them why we should have been drafted. I love that. This next user, though, did my job for me as far as getting tweets from people that did not understand it. And he just kind of goes through and scrolls and he just sees, first of all, people say that does not change the fact that Australia, blah, blah, blah. Then this one talks about Kevin Durant's career. And then, of course, somebody goes into the Mickey Mouse ring, which is only things weird people who are slow say. This guy says Lakers. This one says not impressive. And then the last one says he's not good. That's not the point. The point is in this moment in time, you need to rally your team to believe that they're good. Every time you step on the court, you need to believe that you belong there. And you need to believe not only do you belong there, but you belong in the regular team. You don't belong in the G League. You need to get that contract to move up. I think what he said was very inspiring. I thought he nailed it. Devin, what do you think?
I like that too. Sorry, it took me a second to unmute, so that's why there was this delay there. But I thought that was a great moment of leadership as well. I think that that's important. You need that kind. We talk about this all the time. You need that kind of person on a team who's going to be the one to kind of rally and motivate the teammates. I would have been the person that looked over there and said, I see food, I see guacamole, so I need somebody to get me back on track and get me back in line. So I think this is great. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was a great moment in time. Yes, he's averaging 6 points a game, but, we have people in the league. Jeremiah, you're one of those people that said Ben Simmons doesn't have to score. He can just play great defense. So don't be the one that's shading the man on his 6 points. I'm just saying. All right, let's go on to this next one. Because for those of us who work in the working world and try to get that, even that cost of living increase, we're talking about hourly hourly income. This is gonna make you real mad. This is one of these things that I feel like don't need to be said publicly. I get it, it's out there, but when we hear stuff like 400 million, we're like, oh, that's a ton of money, blah, 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 blah. But the second you break that down into terms that I can understand in my lowly hourly life, now I feel some type of way about it. And it don't need to be done like that. So y'all take a look at this tweet from SportsCenter that said $100 a minute. We out here trying to get a good hourly salary. This says that Steph Curry is making $100 per minute. If you really, really want to feel poor, just like our headline says, let's break that down even further. $215 million a year, 53.7 over 4 years, 53.7 over a year, $147,000 per day, $6,132 per hour, $102 per minute, $1 a second. I didn't even look for any more tweets on this. I started looking at my bank account immediately after I saw this tweet, and I was like, okay, I'm mad at this. I'm really mad at this. I don't even have this is terrible. My savings is pretty nice because I'm responsible about that, but my checking account don't even have what he makes during a day. Let me just throw that out there. Put a little bit of my business out there. That's horrifying. So I knew people were going to be mad at this after I got my life together. I was like, am I the only one that's tripping on this? No, I don't trip on it like these people do, but they're like disgusting how high players' salaries have gotten now. This one says, effing sick. It's more important that these godlike athletes get paid, but yet a normal family got to pinch pennies just to pay for TV and internet just to watch this kind of game. Yeah, this one, it says, this is ridiculous. I love sports as much as anyone, but no one deserves that kind of money. I bet his high school coach can't even afford to go to a game. That post specifically kind of resonated with me because we talk about this all the time in my news world, that there's people here in LA who've never even gone to the beach because they feel like they can't afford it, even though the beach is free. But people have things in their mind that they just automatically feel like they can't afford, so they can't even try it because that's how their income works. So their mind works a little bit different. So when she said his high school coach probably can't even afford to go to a game, he probably could afford to go to the nosebleed seats, but then that's kind of jacked up. I'm not mad at what these athletes make, but I do get seeing this and being really pissed off about it. Blacklight Zen, I agree with you. He said, do you say that about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates? I say it way worse especially about Bezos. That man is a horrible person. He don't deserve that money. But Devin, what do you think about how people are starting to have this visceral reaction to breaking down this salary like this? This is why you shouldn't do it. Don't break down these salaries like this.
I know, it's like those, I've seen like tweets and memes about how Jeff Bezos earns like, I forget what it is, like $16,000 a minute or whatever it is. And it really puts things into perspective. That being said, it's not like we didn't know Steph or any of these guys were earning a ton of money. And they've gotten to a point where I feel like they do deserve it. They've worked really hard. They're some of the best basketball players that we've ever seen. And so, of course, they're going to get paid these big amounts. But it does make you feel a little bit like, damn, $100 a minute? That hurts. And
right.
Also, our producer put in the chat, this is before endorsements. And you know
right.
that those endorsement deals that he's earning so much more money. So it is a little bit painful. But, hey, he worked hard to get there. And those guys put their bodies on the line every time they go out and play a game. That, you know, Steph could have ended up like Clay, hurting himself 2 seasons in a row and being completely of course, Clay's still getting paid for all of that. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but like, I get it. It hurts, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. You know, I'm not mad at it at all. I saw somebody in the chat that Marcus White, I blocked you because I tend to, if I see the N-word, I block the N-word. So I feel like you're new here, but now you know. But he said, if you don't like what they're making, which I don't have a problem with it, but he said, if you don't like what they're making, then either play ball or get pregnant, which we're going to talk about that in a second, get pregnant by an NBA player. First of all, women who make it to the WNBA don't make this kind of money. So get a different analogy first and foremost. But when you talk about making a baby by an NBA player, that's not my move, but it's Brittany's move. So, you know, other people agree with you. So I'm not mad at you on saying that kind of aspect. That is a thing. People do it. Brittany, we tried to warn PJ. We took to Twitter, we took to Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. We tried to warn PJ, but he didn't listen, and now he caught up with this girl, and he brought it on himself. She says that we're wrong, though, about her getting this $200,000 a month in child support. The bottom one says they saying you got pregnant on purpose to take all that little boy's money, but I don't believe it, though. The name is Hot Girl, whatever. So she trying to be like Brittany. That's why she don't want to believe it. Brittany responds back with what money? People actually believe that $200K a month post, child. I thought it was a damn joke. Oh, wow. No, you did not think that was no damn joke. You lying heifer. I do not like this girl at all. PJ, you brought it up on yourself, though. But you know the dragging started immediately. Twitter, y'all are the best investigators. Your memory is very. Somebody scrolled back far enough to see this on her page, which he said is admissible evidence as to why she dated PJ. You guys take a look.
First people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, I mean, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really dumb.
Oh.
In case you didn't hear what she said the worst people to deal with are athletes because they never use a condom. So if you really want to come up on a check, sleep with an athlete because they really dumb. There you go, Marcus. She already said this was on her page. So then after this post, someone was like, you know what? People just shading you. We need another book. I didn't even know she wrote a book, but okay. She says the book is coming. The next one is the best clapback that I have ever seen in my life. He says the title should be How to Rob a Man Without a Gun. And I think that is the perfect name for this book. So look, Mr. Max, you were right. There's ways to get that money without actually getting that into the NBA, and Brittany has perfected it. I don't like this girl. Devin, I know you all about the messiness, though. Do you believe her that that's not why she did it?
She definitely had ulterior motives. I don't think that she was dating PJ because she loved him and she thought he was so great. I saw some tweets about this that were like she was getting him ready for this moment as a teenager, like when he was still just a really young guy. And she's, I think, 29. She's close to 30, and here she is pregnant with his baby, or no, not pregnant with his baby. She has his baby. I don't believe that $200,000 a month in child support was ever on the line. That seems outrageous for anybody. But yeah, I think that she definitely went into it hoping to get that money. And let's not forget that he did post that tweet and said he was faking it the whole time or whatever it was. So he caught on too. He basically confirmed it for all of us.
Yeah, he caught on late. I mean, we were sending up smoke signals trying to warn this man. He's like, oh no, but she loves me. Okay. You love that check. Then you don't, and that's the thing. He's low hanging fruit. I know I said that before and people got mad. There's no way she's getting $200,000 a month, because that's similar to what Dr. Dre's ex-wife is getting. Ain't no way she's getting $200,000 a month. She getting a nice little check though. But she took the low hanging fruit. The word had gotten out about her and nobody else was messing with her. So she got that young boy. You right, Devin. She trained him. So anyway, let's move on to this one. Because we know Aaron Rodgers is still obviously mad with the Giants. He has every right to be. But what we can't say is this man definitely still got it. He not missed a step. Y'all take a look at this pass from Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Just casually throws it, does a little thank you, gets into, it's a circle. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's a circle. Soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no, here come the Tom Brady comparisons. And it was the very next post, definitely made that comparison about that time that he was throwing it into the little ball machine. It says, Tom Brady uses CGI for his accuracy, while Aaron Rodgers is the definition of accuracy. And I'm like, well, that might be true. You set yourself up. And sure enough, this is what he set himself up for. He goes, these are real, though. Yep. Knew that was coming. I don't have anything else to say. When somebody throws up a handful of rings, what you do is you bow out. So I'm going to bow out And on this next one, I'm going to tell you, as soon as Leo throws this up, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to try to remember to unmute myself, because when I tell you I cracked up so hard laughing at Michael Irvin. I thought Michael Irvin was going to have a totally different take. Number one, because as a former Cowboy, I thought he was still going to hate the Giants. Totally wrong. I thought he was going to agree with us that this fight that the Giants got in practice was a horrible idea. Totally wrong again. So you guys take a listen to his rant and tell me if it's as funny to you as it is to me. Take a listen.
And the Giants on their first day of pads are out here competing so that they get in a brawl. Are you joking? That is incredible. I guarantee you. Oh yeah, Joe Judge did all those things. We can't be doing this. Oh yeah, this hurt our team. We can't be making these kinds of mistakes. When they got in that coaching locker room, they were like, yeah, dog, did you see that? We got them when we want them. They fighting on the first day. They were high-fiving each other. They were saying, now they did it. They did it. Because if you compete at practice, what I call a battleground, you're going to have so much fun and win on what I call a playground on game day. That was incredible. I love the Giants fighting on the first day, and everybody saw it incorrectly. You got to see this the right way. And then I said, Michael, that's why God has you on TV, to bring it to them right. Yeah, I gave it to you right.
Hey, Mike, can I get a witness, people?
Um,
I'm testifying. You just testified.
Yes.
That was righteous.
Devin, I'm just going to go to you really quickly. Did we get it wrong? Okay, Ty in the chat says he's right. Devin, I don't know.
I think that, first of all, I love the enthusiasm in that moment there. That was very, very, very passionate, I will say. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we got it wrong.
I mean, look, Michael Irvin is one of my, I love Michael Irvin. I love the new Baby Fro too. Shout out to that. But if he says it was the right, I get it though. You want that intensity. You want that fierceness. I just don't know if you want it against each other. But hey, what I'm not going to do, we'll have a little mini what we not going to do. What I'm not going to do is speak against what Michael Irvin says. If he says this the look, I don't know if I agree, but I'm not gonna go against them. But look, we're gonna talk about something that I definitely think would hurt, because I haven't seen this event in the Olympics at all. But this rock climbing event, I've not seen it. I saw this highlight and I was like, this has got to be one of the most gut-wrenching things I've ever seen. To know that you actually won, you were right there, you had the better athleticism, the better plan, and you lost in the worst way. Take a look. Like I said, I've never seen this before, but look how quick she is. That other girl is mad slow compared to her, but watch this, here it comes. Lost it. That's so, she cried. The ride down had to be the worst. You just cry all the way down. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. That's terrible. But you know, the whole world is still looking at you and you just dangling from this rope. That has to be the worst feeling ever. I'm so sorry, young lady. That was terrible. And I know that had to hurt. Just, I don't know what to say. That's so gut-wrenching. I'm just going to leave it there. One more time. She's so fast, though.
So fast.
She just got anxious at trying to hit the thing and she slipped and put the ride down. Sorry, the ride down. The worst.
That kills me.
The feet kicking is, I'm like, I'm done. Don't kick your feet like that. That's the worst.
It hurts my feelings to watch that.
It does. There's nothing you can do. Like, she was right there. She technically, in my head, she still won. That other girl, it took her, even after she slipped and fell, she still was going. That other girl was mad slow compared to her. The ride down, that makes me giggle a little bit, but that was super impressive. You're right, Mr. Toxic. That was super impressive. But let me hurry through this, what we not gonna do. Because I want to get to this one so we can get to fan or foe. But I think all of us are probably at the point right now where we're just kind of over the coronavirus. We just want to go back to life as normal, especially if you read the CDC every day, which I do. Don't do that. It'll stress you out when you hear, oh, we've got a new variant, we've got a plus variant, we've got a mutant variant. It's like, okay, I just need everything to go away. So I understand with not knowing what's coming next with this virus. Maybe you don't know what's coming next with the vaccine. I'm not sleeping. I'm not tripping on anyone who feels some type of way about the vaccine. That is your business. I understand you making your own choice and you respecting that. But before we got on here, our producer let me know something about Kirk Cousins that I did not know. And that's his dad is like this Bible thumper that thinks everything that has to do with the government and Black Lives Matter is all fake. And that Kirk Cousins actually had posted something. Well, he was on a podcast not too long ago and said, you know what? Those of you who wear a mask, you're like sheep. It's stupid. I'm not wearing a mask, blah, 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 blah. Right. So now we fast forward to, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, we let you guys know the NFL is not going to impose on you. They're not going to force you to get the vaccine, but they pretty much made it very clear they're going to make your life a living hell if you don't get it because they want it to be as safe as possible. So now you fast forward to Kirk Cousins, who is not vaccinated, says he will not get vaccinated. And now he has missed 4 practices because the rooms they were meeting in too small. And now he wants the teams to have to modify the practice. But I want you to listen to this clip of what he said about missing these practices.
It was disappointing to miss practice. In my entire college and pro career, I have not missed 4 practices. So to miss 4 practices in 1 week, and not have COVID was frustrating, disappointing. But worked on my own, did all the virtual meetings, was able to do the best I could with the situation we had. I do believe the protocols work, and that's why I believe I didn't have COVID, after being in a meeting room like that, because the mask and the social distancing works. Now we look forward to the degree that, you test positive for the virus, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can't play in a game. You can't play in a game with COVID.
Because he said that's night and day difference than what he said before. He says, I believe that the reason why I didn't have COVID because the protocols work, the mask and the social distancing works. That's night and day difference between you saying that people wear masks are sheep. He goes on to say that, based on the current protocols, because the room, one of the reasons he had to miss practice because the practice room was too small. So now he wants to move to a larger room so they can social distance properly. And if that's still not enough, he wants to put plexiglass just around himself. Okay, as bad as that is, I could rock with that. It's his last statement that really annoyed me. He said, hey, if that doesn't work, then we'll have to have meetings outside, even if that means we have to have meetings outside in January. In Minnesota. Like, who is having meetings outside in January? I'm not mad at him saying that, the vaccine is a very private matter and he doesn't want to discuss that publicly. I rock with that. I do think it's a very personal choice and you should make that. But you've been very public on saying, number one, it's not a good thing. Your dad is a Bible thumper that thinks that racism is okay. Make that make sense. So you have this weird ideology that you're using as an excuse to put your team in a bad position. And now they have to modify everything for you. And your name is Kirk Cousins. Maybe if your name was Tom Brady, maybe if your name was Aaron Rodgers, maybe, but it's not. It's Kirk Cousins. What we're not going to do is force a team that's doing the best that they can to make it so they can all get together. And I don't care how you feel about the vaccine. What I care about is how you feel about your team. And if your team is doing everything that they can to make sure that they can play together and work together in the best way possible, you're already putting your whole body and your whole mind at risk. Do what you need to do so you're not putting your teammates out. You look like an idiot. And that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got for what we not going to do.
It's Fan or Foe.
All right, you guys. I forgot to unmute again, always. Okay, let's just get right to it. Leo, can you throw our first comment up there? This is from Ola Kunle. He says, true, Dennis. I tried.
Say the name. Just
He said, true, Dennis Schroeder oversold himself. Show you are worth it first before going nuts on salary. Honestly, that's exactly what we were saying. We agree with you. I'm going to call you Ola for short. Okay, let's get into the next comment. Mike Locke says, so is the Lakers a retirement home or a super team? A super team. I hate this slander, Mike Locke. Ouch. A retirement home?
Can we keep these screenshots? Because what's going to be the narrative, Mike Locke? I know you in here. What you going to say when we go to the finals? I'm not saying anything about what you going to say when we go to the finals. What happens then? Let me know.
I know. And also, they're literally younger than 40. This is not retirement home status, you guys. This is painful. Okay, let's get into the next one. JD says, Dennis Schroeder didn't prove his worth in the playoffs, especially in the playoffs. He lost out on a lot of money in the free agency. He believed his own hype, like Ben Simmons. You know, there is some similarity between these two, although I think Dennis is at least in better shape than Ben Simmons is. But yeah, you got to be careful about believing your own hype. Be confident, but don't get too cocky. Don't get ahead of yourself when you're not quite there yet. Yep. Moving on to the next one. Doug says he has a right to feel this way, but at the same time, he's the king. No need to address the haters. This is about LeBron. So Jackie, do you have anything that you want to say?
No, I agree. But like I said yesterday, I just feel like that's one of those things where he knows there's more basketball behind him than in front. And he is tired of y'all, as am I. So I understand the desire to want to tweet. LeBron, don't worry. I'll be on Twitter all day defending you. You ain't got to worry about these people. I got you. I'm there. I got you.
You really do have it covered. That's very true. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so 05 Red Dragon. I like this long one. Okay, Devin and Jackie are right. Best way to start off a comment, first of all. Yeah. If you're going to go into details about very specific points of a conversation, then you better have a source. Players having lunch and chatting basketball isn't tampering. This is complete BS for attention and clout. We agree. There's really not much left to say here. But I do want to say, I feel like 05 Red Dragon should be in contention for Fan of the Week because he said we were right. I like that. Feels good. Let's get into the next one. Thousandaires Club said, Jackie, marry me at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Do you accept?
I mean, and I know I'm weird like that, but that would probably be the coolest wedding ever. You know, everything, you could like move some tables out, have the wedding on one side, the dance on the other side, and the chicken and the waffles flowing the whole time. I need to see what you look like though. But yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, Jackie has a thing. If you try and ask her out and slide into her DMs and you don't have a profile picture that actually shows your face, she's not going to give you a chance. So my best advice to you, Thousandaires Club, go ahead and upload a good photo of yourself, have your friends or your mom take one of you. Maybe Jackie will consider. Also, I love an unconventional wedding. I'm going to have an unconventional wedding myself. So I will be there if I get the invite to the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles wedding.
I want the new one. They just built a new one though that is huge. I don't want one of these small ones that's in Hollywood or Inglewood. They built one on the west side it's huge. So we could do. It's not open yet because they built it right at the beginning of the pandemic, and so it just hasn't. It might be open now. I haven't driven by it, but yes, it's brand new. It's huge. There we can have the wedding for sure.
Nice. Okay, let's get into the next comment. Mike Glock says, JD, exactly. I generally think Embiid just trolls and trash talks because that's what he does. It's what he likes to do. I don't think he really has beef with anyone. Do you think Joel has true beef with anyone?
I mean, I think if looks could speak 1,000 words, the look that he gave Andre on their first meeting, there's some real beef there. But, maybe you're right.
I also think there's beef with Ben. I think that's clear. Let's get into the next comment. Michael Lattimore says, Ben Simmons only been in the league 3 years, going on for how could his NBA career could be declining already. I mean, all you have to do is look at the stats. Jackie, I'm going to let you take this one.
I mean, you nailed it. Look at the stats. 2018, Ben Simmons, good guy. 2019, problem. 2020, bigger problem. And now we are with the problem that no one can deny anymore. So, yeah, it's not, there's nothing you can say about that. And even if you don't look at the numbers, if you watch the tape, I think the tape is worse than looking at the numbers. Sometimes I do think you miss certain things just in stats, but the tape on him is worse than the stats. His mind isn't right. It can be fixed. I do think it can be fixed. Let me just say that. I don't think it can be fixed with the 76ers, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that getting out of there is going to be his best bet. Let's move on to the next one. I am Ghost says Joker and Bol about to be Salt and Peppa out there. Okay, yeah, I like it. Salt and Peppa. Okay, let's move on. This person, Cristobal, says, I have regular Peacock, has tape delayed Olympics, shaking my head. Premium Peacock has live Olympics. Shaking my head, sigh. Yeah, I think it's annoying that we're having to pay for the Olympics. Like, I know that streaming services are the way to go, and that's what everybody has, but come on, with the Olympics, it's an international event. It just seems weird. Okay, moving on. I believe this is our last one. Levy says, Caruso is a winner, but his offense was terrible, missing wide open layups and threes. It's not sustainable. Jackie, do you have something you want to say back to this guy?
No, I mean, I agree. Devin and I talked about this when it happened, and I was like, yeah, unfortunately, Caruso was one of the first people that I said had to go because you do have an aging squad. So you can't have a young guy come off the bench and score 2 points in the playoffs. I'm sorry, sir. You got to go. We love you still, but you got to go.
Yeah, and I think he's going to look really good on the Bulls, so it'll be a good season for him, I think. Okay, you guys, well, that wraps up Fan or Faux Friday. I feel like it's been a while since we've done one of these, so that felt really good. Always nice to be able to talk to you guys.
05 Dragon. What was his name? 05 Dragon.
05
Something.
Red Dragon, I think.
05 Red Dragon, you're our fan of the week.
Okay, hell yeah. Congratulations to 05 Red Dragon. Thank you so much for saying we're right. That's all you got to do. Jeremiah, little tip for you. You always want to be fan of the week, but you literally disagree with everything we ever say on this show, so kind of weird. All right, you guys, let's wrap up the show. We hope you have an amazing weekend. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. Leave a comment below. Share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.